One, they're either going to just start cutting. They're going to cut their labor. They're going to cut their overhead. They're going to cut their advertising dollars. They're just going to find for any way that they can cut. And they're going to kind of get themselves into a bunker and they're going to like, hold on. Historically, it's when a lot of businesses will absolutely boom. Some of the biggest companies that you can think of out of there actually started and were founded during a recession and took off during a recession. Tighten up your phones, tighten up your cancellations, and then work on your referrals.
This is Dental All-Stars, where we bring you the best in dentistry on marketing, management, and training.
Welcome to Dental All-Stars. I'm Alex Nottingham, founder and CEO of All-Star Dental Academy. And with me is Patrick Chavoustie, and he is Omni Marketing. You're the president. You are all things Omni Premier Marketing, and we are talking about how to recession-proof your practice. Welcome, Patrick.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Quick correction. You got the name right. It wasn't that. But my team is really the people that get it done. I certainly put together strategies and vision with their help, but they execute it. They're the ones that get the numbers up and get it done for our clients. So I got to give some kudos to them here.
Yes, you do have a great team.
Thank you.
And I had the pleasure of working with your team. Actually, our beautiful website was designed by the team over at Omni Marketing. And so thank you for putting your top dogs on the project. It really has made a huge difference.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good challenge, and it was a lot of fun doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's cool because we know you can do a dental website at a high level, and you did an enterprise level site and a whole bunch of other things. And also you're an amazing entrepreneur and a friend, and we talk a lot. And anyways, so for those who don't know who you are, I mean, I know you're the face behind Omni Premier Marketing. What is Omni Premier Marketing? Who are you? You know, what help the guests kind of get acquainted here.
I'm going to talk about my background just a little bit here. Sure. I've been in marketing my entire adult life. So I was fortunate to work with a big group 30 years ago, 27 years ago. I'm 50 now, so pretty much my entire adult life I'm doing marketing. Been specifically in digital now for almost 20 years, which is funny for those that really know me. I thought digital was going to ruin the planet when the internet became a thing going back 27 years ago. So it's been quite a journey. A lot of things are in marketing and advertising are just as true today as they were 30, 40 years ago. It's just the media, the way you get that message in front of people is obviously changing and evolving by the minute. So it's really exciting to stay on top of those trends and changes in our world, our planet.
And you know what's fascinating about how one becomes to where they are. It wasn't dental. I mean, you work with cars, with politics, with a lot of different entities and big organizations.
Yep.
How did you end up in dentistry?
Oh, a total mistake. And you're right. It was, I was helping market retail automotive dealers. You talk about tough customers. If you've ever been on the customer side of buying a car, which most of you can, imagine working with them to help bring them in customers and how hungry they are for new customers. It's a challenge and a lot of fun, obviously very competitive. So I was actually put in a position where I had a non-disclosure agreement or a non-compete agreement, and I couldn't work in automotive marketing for some time. And started a company with a couple of friends, people that I knew professionally from the prior company. And we had a plastic surgeon call us and kind of out of the blue say, can you help me? And we're like, yeah, sure, we can help you. And we ended up working with this plastic surgeon. And then a few years down the road, we're working with a lot of plastic surgeons, kind of getting our name for ourselves in that niche when a cosmetic dentist called us and said, you're working with a friend of mine. Can you help us? And we're like, I don't know anything about dentistry. He's like, it's the same thing. He's like, the patients want the same thing. They want to look better. They want to feel better. Like, yeah, we'll give it a go. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
And probably 7 or 8 years ago, we decided we're not going to take on any more plastic surgeon clients. And really the big reason for that is the before and after photos. Right. It can be kind of fun. It can also be kind of disturbing too. So we had team members that just really hated dealing with the amount of before and after photos that we have to deal with or had to deal with. And I just started to really love the dental business. It's so unique. It's so different. And cosmetics, pretty much everybody is paying cash or financing or something like that. But in dentistry, it's very different. You have all of these different nuances. You have obviously insurance, you have in-house plans. It's very, very different. And I actually think I've heard people say that like in dentistry, you're not competing against other dentists, you're competing against the other things that people want to spend money on, like a BMW or a handbag or something like that. And I think that's very true. But in plastic surgery, people are pretty dead set. When somebody decides they want a new butt or new boobs or a full head of hair or something along those lines, like they'll find the money. Dentistry, it's a little different. It's a little harder. So we've been in dentistry since then and we just love it. So it's what we do and what we love.
And also, like with dentistry, most dentists, unless you're a specialist or what have you, there's an ongoing patient population. There's also lower end procedures. I mean, I guess plastic surgeons have Botox, but typically they're big procedures we see when you're done.
Yeah.
Right. This is an ongoing relationship. And I guess the way my mind works, right? A squirrel, looking at what the shiny object, but
Sure.
you're talking about automotive. And when I think automotive, what's in the news? Tariffs, automotive, those type of things.
Yeah.
And I love talking to you and with you about politics, not on one side or the other, but just it's important to understand macroeconomics and what's happening. And you're very, very educated in those areas. And I think it's important that we don't overreact, but also understand what are the impacts.
Yep.
So the title of this podcast is we're talking about recession-proof your practice. It is possible that a recession is coming. And certainly there could be recessionary impacts.
Sure.
Tariffs is one of them. I mean, we do know that for many years since, 2022 with supply chain issues, and we also have, and as you know, we have a hiring service at Ulster Dental Academy. It's been really hard to hire.
Right.
We have staffing shortages out there. So there's a lot of these aspects that are either going to create a recession or have an impact of that on people. So
Yep.
what do you worry about? What do you see? So let's talk about the potential issues. And then I know you are a sorcerer when it comes to solutions on how to do that. And I will say for marketing, it's not what I love about what you do. It's not just this standard marketing, which you do, but it's like thinking outside the box.
Sure.
I saw you earlier today in one of our forums. People were asking about non-traditional marketing. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Do it. And here's some ideas. I love it. So help, frame the problem a little bit. We can get in the solution.
Yep. By the way, I love traditional marketing, or I guess you call it non-traditional today, but I love old school like marketing tactics, right? Getting out there, knocking on doors, that sort of thing is very difficult in today's age. People don't want to do it as much. When it comes to recession-proofing your practice, I'm going to kind of come at it from a business development point of view and an advertising point of view. So historically, when there's a downturn in the market, and whether there's a national recession that has to do with GDP, I think in dentistry there is a recession right now going on where the numbers are down compared to they were a couple of years ago. There's a big influx of cash. I mean, dentists, there's a couple of years that, there's a lot of money out there due to COVID and what have you. I actually think a lot of people were lonely after COVID and were going to the dentist, right? Somebody to talk to or talk about not being able to talk to, right? Because they had tools in their mouths. There was a boom. There definitely was a boom. And it seems to be a lull right now. And it seems to be slower than it was for a lot of dentists than just a few years ago. So I think dentists are already in sort of a recession. One of the best things about recessions, and going back to owning an agency in 2008, I will tell you that every business will take two different approaches. One, they're either going to just start cutting. They're going to cut their labor. They're going to cut their overhead. They're going to cut their advertising dollars. They're just going to find for any way that they can cut. And they're going to kind of get themselves into a bunker and they're going to like hold on, right? And just hold on and get themselves through it. And they'll get through it. There's no doubt about it. They'll get through it. Or historically, they'll get through it. There's another type of business owner out there that sees it as a ton of opportunity because they look around and they know their competition has their head in the sand, right? That creates a lot of opportunity. So if you think about it like this, and Google Ads is an auction. If you're buying keywords that are related to dentistry to drive traffic to your practice, it's an auction. The fewer people participating in that auction, bidding on those keywords, the lower the price per keyword is. So you could literally right now, where a keyword may cost you $10, there's a possibility 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, it costs you $2, which means you can get 5 times the amount of traffic for the same price. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Talk about a huge opportunity. I mean, huge opportunity, especially when people are backing off. They're going into just, kind of fright mode or flight mode. They're just getting away from it. So historically, this always happens. In recessions, historically, it's when a lot of businesses will absolutely boom. Some of the biggest companies that you can think of out of there actually started and were founded during a recession and took off during a recession. Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that during COVID and towards the end, when dentists were one of the first allowed to come back to work,
Yep.
is many of our dentists that were making investments with marketing were doing great because there was almost no competition, and they were able to take market share when it comes to that. So you're saying the human tendency is to say, "Oh my goodness," whatever it could be. And we say tariffs on this call next time we speak in a few months, it could be another issue that occurs.
Sure.
And it's having an impact. And so
Right.
the natural human instinct is to retract. Like even what I see, which is interesting, you start seeing these articles written for the general population: save, don't spend, do this, that, which I get. But the concern is when it comes to your business, which the dental offices, most dentists, their life's work and much of their retirement is held up in the business. Put aside the 401k, but the sale of the business, their cash cow is the business.
Yeah.
And so what the tendency is we personalize the business as what we might do with ourselves, with our own finances, and say, okay, I'm going to cut, what am I cutting? I'm going to cut coaching. I'm going to cut learning. I'm going to cut marketing. I mean, you've told me stories where you've had people, this is boneheaded stuff, like they're crushing with marketing. You show them the results. This is rare for you. I know you have a great retention rate, but you've had these outliers that are like, oh, I'm going to stop marketing, but you made like 4 times your money or 10 times, whatever it is. But it's more likely that people fear when they see that things are getting expensive or they're understaffed. The biggest question we get at All Star often, that's why we built the hiring service 7 years ago, is that we get the issue, well, I can't train my team and invest in coaching because I don't have enough team members. I don't have the right team. So they keep pushing it down the road. And I wonder if you get the same objections as well during recessionary or fear situations.
Of course. 100%. Yeah. A couple of things can happen there as far as, people deciding not to advertise. One is they're scared, right? They don't want to spend any money. And you're 100% right. It becomes, when you see that consumer confidence is down and everybody's saying, don't spend, save. And that is happening right now. Consumer confidence,
It's true.
is as low as I can remember it. It doesn't mean that it's, last 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years. I'm sure sometime in that time span, it's been pretty low, but last time I can remember. And so people are afraid to spend money. If you look at stocks that are related to things that people spend money on, a lot of them are down, like, durable goods, that sort of thing. You can do the same thing. Like I said, and you're going to get through it. Like, and when I say you, I'm speaking to dentists out there, you can absolutely cut back and you're probably going to get through it. People are going to have emergencies. They're going to have to spend money on dentistry, whether it's just, abstractions or the minimum amount of treatment. But you can also take advantage of this. I'm just going to keep coming back to this. Like, you can literally take advantage of this. You can get yourself out there in the market. It may cost you, you may spend more money on advertising than you did before. It might be an expense, but you need to keep those numbers up because one thing, and this is more your business. I don't get into this. I have a general knowledge of this, is that the more production you do, your fixed cost, your percentage, right? Your margins, I should say, your profit margins go up, right? So if you can actually do a couple $100,000 in more production, your fixed costs are the same. Do you see what I'm saying? So your margins are more. So you're actually making more money. You're netting more money, which is important, right? The net is actually more important than the gross at the end of the day. So yeah, maybe you need to spend a little bit more on advertising than you wanted to, but it's worth it, right? Because your margins are higher.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah, go
sense.
ahead.
And the converse to that is if you stop investing and your production goes down, your fixed costs are not going down, only
That's
your
right.
variable costs.
Right.
And so so you start seeing your paycheck get even condensed even faster.
That's right.
So it's almost like you got to keep the engine going. You got to
You do.
keep putting the gas in there.
Yep, you do. And some things that people can't predict for. And I know someone that I talked to, they have plenty of money, so this isn't going to be a big deal for them. It's not going to put them out of business or anything like that. But they did 2 years ago, they did or maybe it was 3 years ago, they did a 5-1 arm to get a better rate on their mortgage, on a multi-million-dollar mortgage. That thing in a year is going to be 7%. And so their housing payment is going to jump up. I don't know the exact math, but a lot, right? If they're not increasing their income, that's going to hurt a lot when those payments come in. So some of these interest rates have come in. We're going to see this. If you want to buy a new house, if you want to move, if you bought a starter home 5-6 years ago at 3% interest or 2.75, and you're going to want to buy your dream home in 3 or 4 years, you're going to have to pay for that. And if you have to pay for 6 or 7% interest, you need to make more money. And I think in a recession, there's no reason why you should change your mindset. If you're in business to make money, right? Obviously take care of patients and do what you love to do. You could do that as an associate. The reason why you started your business was to make money, to have freedom. Right? Advertise if you want to make money and you want to keep your freedom.
And I think that we have to recognize that recessions are going to happen.
Yes.
That they always do.
It's natural.
And you have, that's what you say, recession-proof your practice. Coming and saying, I know it's going to happen. I have a plan. Because like we said, we are not, I guess it hasn't officially said we're in a recession at the time of this recording. But yes, there are some effects. Nevertheless, we have to have a plan. That's the idea of recession-proof, a plan going in that no matter what it is, we're going to make those investments and improve. So tell me, okay, so what are some, you say that as a thesis here from a marketing perspective, in not only invest when the recessions occur or the perceptions are there, but invest more because you're going to get a better deal. Much like when a stock market goes down is when you buy, okay, fine. But I think it's easier when it comes to business because with markets, you don't control necessarily what those companies do and other things. But when it comes to the market of advertising, it's clear, it's cheaper, and there's still patients. That's a great thing I think about dentistry, which you probably agree versus your plastic surgeons, is people need dentists.
Right.
And even if you're a specialist, they need you. And so on. So for the vast majority of dentists, there's a constant churn, right? And they can have to replace patients. So you've got to make those investments. So what would you, all right, so thesis is invest in marketing. What are some people, maybe we can do some mind reading here, Patrick, you're good at this. What are some of their hesitations when it comes to marketing, or what are some of their issues you see with a recession that they need to be able to fix, or some tips that come to mind with respect to this?
Well, I think first of all, when I talk about marketing, marketing is literally everything that happens in your practice. Right? So there's advertising, and that's the way you get your messaging, what you do in front of people. So advertising is, traditional, like print, postcards, that sort of thing, billboards, non-digital, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, Google ads, SEO, direct mail, or I'm sorry, digital mail. So like email blast and that sort of thing. That's the way you're getting your message in front of people. So I look at that as actual advertising. Marketing is everything else that happens. And well, I think you still need to spend money, and you should consider investing money, right? Making sure there's a return on that. One of the things that you can do to significantly guarantee your success is to make sure that the rest of your marketing is dialed in, meaning make sure it's a great patient experience, right? When people say, how do I get good reviews? I've got all these bad reviews. I said, stop being a jerk. Like, that's a really good way to get good reviews, right? Earn them, right? Make people love you, earn them. Team members, right? I talked to a dentist this morning, trying to hit a 30 new patient per month goal, would have gotten there this month, would have gotten past it, but they had 10 new patient cancellations. So, well, how are you handling those cancellations? How's your team handling those cancellations? And they didn't really have a great answer. And I talked to him a little bit about the all-star method on handling those, and said, gave him what I knew, and of course told him to reach out to you. But that's one thing that you can do, because if you think about it, if you have 10 cancellations in a month on new patients, what's the average production value on that? I will tell you, our client averages about $1,300. Our clients average about $1,300 on a patient's first visit. That's what they average. Now, it might be no money, right? So they might not spend anything. Could be 2 crowns, right? But could be Invisalign, could be implants, could be a full mouth rehab at 70 grand, but the average comes out to about 1,300. So 10 patients lost. If you could cut that number from 10 down to 5, we're talking what, $8,000 in production. That's on the first visit. Now, if you're going to see them, when I talk to my practices where the individual dentist is netting $1 million per year or more, those clients, when you talk to them, they know they're going to see that patient twice per year for the next 5 years, and they're getting 2 referrals out of them. Right.
Wow.
So I mean, we're talking a lot of money, just the difference on 5 phone calls. And I know you guys have some awesome stats and numbers on this. I'd love it if you'd share right now and kind of bail me out, but
Bill, you well,
Wow.
I will build on this because you're speaking my language here,
right.
and it's such a pleasure when I've spoken to many marketing companies over the years, and I just have to say, like you get it, and you're almost, I don't know, you're better than that. Meaning you're a marketer, you're an advertiser, but you're a great business person and you have a great heart. So I want people to hear that. I have a friendship. I know Patrick, he's a good person. And often what you'll recommend, I'll go back to the numbers in a second, but often what you recommend is you say, look, I don't even know if I can help you if you're not doing full marketing. And as what you define marketing, meaning the patient experience training. If you're not training, I love Chet Holmes, one of our friends that we like his training. He used to be with me over there, Tony Robbins, but he says, I don't want to waste your money and my time.
Yeah.
And that's your attitude.
Right.
So with the numbers, I like your numbers, and we can slice it different ways, but let's just say, for example, in terms of simple math, that you miss a conversion 1 working day, okay, per day.
Yeah.
And dentists, as you know, you track a lot of this, they're missing 87 opportunities a month on average. They're just saying 1, which is 16 a month. Now, I used the first year value of a patient, which was like 4 or 5 years ago from the ADA. I'm trying to find the newest value. I'm sure it's up, but I used $642. This is only a general office, not cosmetic, not endo, not perio, none of that. But that's $10,000 a month. Now, that $10,000 a month in the first year value, they'll be going to this practice, and we're not even including what you did with referrals. That's another multiple. If that happens every month, that's $120,000 a year. Lifetime value of a patient is 10 years. 10 times 120,000 is 1.2 million. From this mistake, that's 1.2 million, and not including the multiples you're talking about, referrals and other things, and not including additional procedures. This is basic bare bone dentistry. You lost 1.2 million in wealth by not having phone skills, by not having this area of marketing, putting phone skills under that, and training. It is just a devastator if we're not paying attention to that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take it to another level there too, as far as a dollar amount's concerned. I spend about a half an hour every night looking at Porsche 911s on the internet. And and I think about it a lot, and I kind of think I want one, and I'm trying to sell myself going, well, the resale value on them, they don't drop that much in value, so I could have fun with it for a few years and then get rid of it. That's all I'm going to want it for anyway. I'll get tired of it. But what I think about the most is if I buy a used one for $100,000, what I keep telling myself, really to prevent myself from buying that, is that it's not $100,000 because of the rule of 7. If I give $100,000 now, not invested, it's really $200,000 in 7 years, right? In 14 years, it's $400,000. In 28 years, it's, do the math, $800,000. So it's really an $800,000 car. 28 years. I'm 50. I'll be 78. That's about time that, you could kick the bucket. So if you're missing out on $100,000 in net profit in your practice right now, when you retire, if you retire 28 years from now, we're really talking about $800,000 in net profits lost. Crazy, right? Rule of 7. It's just, if you took that money and you invested it, you could take $100,000 on extra net profits.
Opportunity.
And 28 years from now, you would have $800,000.
Okay. Well, I like that analogy, but I'm going to push back as a friend. And for this example, is you also got to enjoy your life too.
Of course.
And there's 100%. A value, there's a return on it. But I get your point. The ultimate thing is, if you want that money to be able to not have to work. Because let's actually put in, because here's the problem. If people don't realize the impact, they don't see it, it's a nothing.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate thing about those who don't market, don't know what the other side is. Those that don't train don't know what the other side is. Those who don't listen to their people on the phone don't know.
100%.
But the point is, what's going to happen, everyone, is if you're not recession-proofing your practice, you're going to have to work more.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work longer.
Right.
So that means 5 or 10 years of more work that you didn't need to do, that you could be playing golf and enjoying yourself. Dentistry, look, dentistry is fun for a lot of dentists. I get it, but it is physically taxing. My dad, a dentist, is working with a physical therapist to get his back straight because he's always hunched over for 50 years of dentistry. So it is a grind, and you don't want to work unnecessarily. And people, I know a lot of us, myself included, we don't like wasting. You are wasting money by not being smart and making those investments. Much like a dentist, we go to the dentist, why? So our teeth don't fall out and we have problems later. There was a great quote of wisdom about living longer is don't have dental problems.
Yeah.
So don't have practice problems. Listen to, that's why we do this podcast. I want to bring you the best, the experts, and you listen to them, you model what they're doing, and you explore. So one of the things, let me ask you this, Patrick, because I know I have you for a limited time. You're busy. You're a busy guy, but you're very generous with your time personally as CEO, which I love, and so on, especially for our podcast listeners. If someone wants to, because we're just touching the surface here, but if they want to kind of see, I don't know, where their marketing is or how they can improve without being sold to, and all that, can they talk with you and your company to kind of get a sense of what they may need?
Yep. So a couple of things. One, if you go to our website, omnipremier.com, and you schedule a strategy session on there, it's going to ask you how you heard about us. If you mention All Star Dental, put it in All Star Dental. It's really easy to do. When you schedule an appointment, I will make sure that I'm on your strategy session with you.
Wow.
So I will do it with you. And what we'll do during that time is measure where you're at. We'll look at what you've done in the past or what you haven't done in the past, right? They're both pretty important. And then we'll look at gaps in competition and then look to see if we can find some low hanging fruit first, right? Get some really quick, easy wins. If we align and we're a good fit, great. If we're not, it's okay too. I'm going to make sure that you at least have the right information to build your practice, no matter what. Like I promise I will get you that. It will not be a waste of a minute of your time. So yeah, just omnipremier.com, strategy session, put in All-Star, how you heard about us, and you'll meet with me one-on-one. Probably have a team member there too, but I'll be the one conducting and running the meeting.
I appreciate that. I think when you're on a journey of building a business, you need friends, you need people on your team. All-Star, I always say, we want to be a small piece of your success. I think Omni as well. They're the ones doing the work. We're there to supplement and make and help them improve. We're there. I use a word with a lot of our coaching called self-funding, where what we do is going to make you money. I know Omni tracks everything, so there's an ROI. But what I really want to impress upon all of our listeners is Patrick and his company, they're good people. They care. And there are some other good marketing companies out there for sure, but marketing tends to be a field of scoundrels, you say, at times. You got to kind of go through that. But Patrick's a good one. So I just want you to reach out for those, whether non-committal, just to learn and to equip, especially our listeners, our All-Star members and followers. I like to take care of you all. Patrick, thank you so much. Before I let you go, I don't have anything snazzy. Some of these podcasts are kind of cute. They have these like little questions behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm kind of toying with that, but then I always forget to do it. But I do like whenever I have you, you're so smart with marketing. What is like the thing now that you're like off the wall marketing thing that's kind of got your attention that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I've got one that's awesome. I mean, call me. And I'll go over this with you. It's something that we are kind of keeping secret from other ecosys at this time, because we're having so much success with it, and we're not doing it to protect us. I give to agencies all the time. If agencies call me directly, I'll share with them. There's other agencies in the dental space that I have meetings with and help them, right? Literally, right? So it's we We both have abundance mindsets. I think that's really important. This one could hurt some of my clients, and I want our clients to keep this edge as long as they could, but we have some ways of getting in front of people at like the prices that are, I mean, $300 a month, I can get you in front of like 10,000.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy.
I get a call from you like every other week of a new idea you're working on. Let me ask you this. What could someone do tomorrow, practice, besides they're going to reach out to you if they're smart and it's free knowledge with a bright, I would almost put you on a scale of genius. I know you don't like when I say that, but what would you say somebody can do tomorrow? One thing to recession-proof their practice. What would you say the number one thing they can do tomorrow?
Tighten up your phones. Okay. I mean,
phone training.
Tighten up your phones, tighten up your cancellations, and then work on your referrals. Have a plan to inspire and curate referrals. So dentists will tell me all the time, I run into older dentists and they say, I've never done any advertising. I built my whole practice on referrals. And I'm like, okay, so you opened your practice and you had one person come in somehow magically. And then that person sent you all of these referrals and you had 100 patients per month in your business. If you built your practice as a startup on referrals, it would take forever to have 500 patients, right? I mean, imagine getting 500 referrals into your practice, 40 referrals per month. It's how do you do that when you don't have any patients? But going back to it, when they say that, I say to them, what's your strategy to curate and inspire referrals? I go, what do you mean? We don't have one. They just come in. And I'm like, well, what if you did? Right? Another thing they'll say is, I get 10 referrals per month from my current patients. That's great. Maybe you could be getting 30. Hey, you've got 2,000 patients in your practice. Maybe you could get 30. So have a plan to inspire and curate referrals. One thing that you can do in your morning huddle is take one patient that you love. And when I say love, one that's like your avatar, ideal patient, the type of patient that if you could just have your whole practice filled with these patients, pick that patient on a day, love on that patient, go over the top for them. Do that on the first day. The next time they come in, which should be 6 months down the road at the latest, do it again and then ask them if they know somebody. Do you know one person that you could send to us, friend or favorite, family member? It's kind of the Chet Holmes system, but doing it internally.
Right. Yeah. The best buyer system. So I can't help myself, but you mentioned phone training and broken appointments. Do you know a good company that helps people?
I do. That? And we do refer to All Star Dental Academy. And in fact, and this is just flat out truth. When we do talk to somebody who said that they heard about us from you, or they're using All Star, it pretty much stops our qualification process because of that. We know if they're committed and they're working on building themselves and building their phone skills and their teams, their case acceptance skills, that the relationship is going to be no brainer. If somebody doesn't currently have a coach and isn't doing something to better those, unless they're already amazing, we have some practices that are really, really good, right? That are really, really good at this stuff. But if they're not working to getting better on it, it's going to be a long road. And I don't know that it's necessarily the best way to spend your money. Start with the training and coaching first.
Patrick, thank you so much. It's been a few months. I miss you. I mean, we talk to you all the time, but I miss you on the podcast. So I'm so happy to have you again. You're a busy guy. Thank you for the generous offer for our followers. Patrick Chavoustie of Omni Premier Marketing. Thank you. So remember, follow us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We're on social media all over the place. Get the episodes as they're released, share with your friends. And until next time, go out there and be an all-star.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Dental All Stars. Visit us online at allstardentalacademy.com.